Dr. King wasn't the only one that slept in this room. Thurgood Marshall slept in this room because the Brown versus Board of Education decision in 1954 led to Mrs. Bates believing that all public schools that receive public taxpayer dollars. You got to remember that black folks were contributing to that during that period of time, but they couldn't go to the schools.
Daisy Bates, well, this was her home, so now it's considered a museum now. And yeah, so we see Daisy Bates House, National Historic Landmark.
But in 1957, that was when desegregation efforts began with Mrs. Bates and the Little Rock Nine during that period of time. Little Rock Nine is a group of young men and women who were identified with Mrs. Bates. Mrs. Bates was also the president of the NAACP during that time. First woman president, to show you. So she wasn't intimidated by men at all, and then she put that all together with the help of the NAACP.
So we just came from Central High School and the tour at the Visitor Center.
Okay, so the National Park Service gave you all a tour.
Yes.
Delightful young lady. She was very passionate.
We work with them because what they do is focus on the high school where it all took place. And what we do is try to give people a historical reflection of how it was living in the home that Mr. and Mrs. Bates built in 1955, which this house was. And this area that you're in now, during that period of time, was a black middle class area.
Yes.
And one of the best unkept secrets that folk don't know about was that this area was integrated. Blacks and whites lived here.
Okay.
But during that period of time, as you know, those who were right-wing believers wanted to continue perpetuating the stereotype that black folks and white folks couldn't coexist together.
Right.
Well, you know, they blew that theory up. But it was never talked about. No newspaper articles, nothing. But even to this day, in 2026, a lot of the families that were here during that period of time, they still in here, living in this area. This is the area where the Little Rock Nine would come every day, Monday through Friday, and they would get lectured by Mrs. Bates in terms of how to walk, how not to walk, how to look, how not to look, who to speak to, who not to speak to, all those kinds of things during that period of time because they were extremely significant.
Yes.
And they had to be exceptional, extremely courageous young men and women during that period of time to endure what they were all subjected to because they were being told as individuals during that period of time that, you know, go back to where you came from, the N-word was used a whole lot, called monkeys and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It was a very, very tense atmosphere during that period because the governor of Arkansas, his name was Orville Faubus during that period, said that he was going to mobilize the National Guard in order to keep the students out. That's exactly what he did. And then Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was the president of the United States during that period, he was the one who was able to overrule him and said, okay, if you do that, how about me mobilizing the United States Army?
All of them. Exactly.
To come down here and protect those kids, and that's exactly what happened. And there's a picture that you'll see of Mrs. Bates standing in this very window right here, watching the kids go out to go to the high school or go to Central on that particular day. Central was one of the top high schools in the entire country. I don't know if y'all knew that during that period. Because they offered
at least
AP
I learned today.
courses.
Yes. I learned a lot about it today.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, they gave AP courses to students during that period of time to better prepare them to go to college, once they came out of high school. So that was extremely unique in the 50s. But as you know, we were never offered those AP courses at our schools during that period of time because there was never any dedication of resources into the educational system. We have to pay for that. These are the original floors of the home right now that you all are standing on. It's amazing that they still remain in this condition. This house is about 1,500 square foot, and it has a basement in it. And down there in the basement is an area called the safe room, which was the room that if something abnormal was happening out there, and people were marching in front of the Mrs. Bates' house and telling her to go back to wherever she came from, somebody would be monitoring this intercom system. This is an intercom system that was put in the 50s. And a lot of folks, period, didn't have intercom systems, let alone black folks during that period. But someone would be monitoring this, and if something happened outside, they would say, hey, Ms. Bates, such and such is going on outside. Redirect the people to go downstairs into the safe room. And that's exactly what would happen. These are all pictures and depictions of Mrs. Bates, and this is a picture of the house in 1955. It was as it was being originally built. And this is that picture I was telling you about the United States Army coming to pick up the Little Rock Nine and take them over. As a matter of fact, one of the members of the Little Rock Nine lived in that brick house right across the street from where you guys' bikes are parked at. Her name was Thelma Mothershed Ware, and she just passed away a couple of years ago. Mrs. Ware was about 85, 86 years old when she passed. This is a picture of Mr. and Mrs. Bates talking to the sheriff of Pulaski County during that period about a cross burning that took in from their home right here. And you know that old expression that people say sometimes that the eyes are the windows of the soul? And you look at his eyes, it looked like he's very interested in trying to get that information more. It looked like he was like, yeah, I already know about this. I told him to come back.
You're right. I told him to come back.
Gave him the time, but this is I don't know how this unit did not get destroyed. In 1999, there was a tornado that came through here and devastated the community on this block. And the roof was blown off of this particular house. And this lamp, this chandelier, that lamp behind you, those are all original things from that era during 1955. And they found that all in the backyard. In the back here, which I'll show you all. And you come on back in here. I'm sure you guys remember pocket doors. If you didn't, this is another measure and means that Mrs. Bates could implement if people wanted to meet with her privately. So she had some things set up. These are all artifacts of Mrs. Bates living during that period of time to reflect what it was like to live during 1957, because the stereotypical perception is that all black folks lived in tin houses or wood houses or houses that were well done, but Mrs. Bates blew that stereotype up into pieces, as well as most of the people who lived on this block. But these are all items that are from that era during the 1950s. This is an actual picture, as you can see, of the house. There's the chandelier during the 50s, driftwood lamp. You see that over in there. These are pictures of Mrs. Bates in the kitchen area there. That picture of Mr. and Mrs. Bates right here in the corner. She is putting her elbow on this countertop right here, talking to her husband during that period of time. This is in the 50s. They had a newspaper called the State Newspapers, and that was the only black newspaper that was being distributed during that period of time. And I'm sure y'all got one in Kentucky as well. At some point, somebody finally was able to innovate something that will reflect those efforts of communication and information. But this is a period of 1957. This is the original counter, and These are the original bricks that were also utilized during that period of time. As y'all know, the rotary dial phone was in vogue during that period, along with party lines, and people had to get accustomed to that. You know, you pick it up and say, here's somebody on there talking about so and so. Yeah, I just saw him in my garage. But you say, hey, can I get on? They say, no, I'll let you know when I'm finished talking. That would never happen. But,
Right.
that's how they went about it.
Y'all don't know anything about that.
Oh, listen, I remember playing on those phones when I was growing up at my grandmother's house.
I'm talking about the party line.
Oh, the party line. No, I don't know about that.
They used to have, everybody didn't have a telephone during
Right.
the 1950s.
Right.
And certainly during the 40s and in some parts of the 60s and 70s, folks still didn't have it. This is a feature that she had in here, and that had the old proverbial ice tray that folks would use to make ice and cold drinks if they wanted to do that. And this also was a refrigerator built by General Electric during that period of time. And Ms. Bates wanted it because it had the revolving trays in here.
Wow.
Nice.
To eliminate having to reach back and knock over stuff here. Instead, just turn it, get whatever you needed to get in order to be able to accommodate it. And that's where the water would drop down right there. And the only thing they didn't have in here during that time is this tablet and this microwave.
That's right. Yes.
This table is the original table that Mrs. Bates would entertain a lot of her friends at, or people who wanted. And right there at the top picture on the left corner, that was where Mr. and Mrs. Bates had their newspaper called State Press. And that picture beneath the State Press, where she is sitting down in the chair looking at this television, as a matter of fact, that's the original chair that she was sitting in. We just had to recover it because of the wear and tear over the years. And on that television, George Orville Fathers was talking about closing down all the public schools in Little Rock because black people still wanted to desegregate Central High School. Back this way is another historical area because it's the area where Dr. King stayed. He came here in 1958 when Ernie Green, who was the first African American to graduate from a desegregation school in the South, graduated in 1958. And Mrs. Bates didn't come to the graduation because a lot of people thought she would be harmed. But Dr. King got wind of it and called her and said, "Hey, Daisy, I'll represent you." And that's exactly what he did. The high school you guys just left, he was sitting in that stadium over there watching Ernie Green graduate from high school during that year. This here is a bedspread called a chenille bedspread. And a lot of our people used to call it a peacock bedspread because we couldn't pronounce chenille. You know, it would come out cherry or a chanel or something like that. We didn't have any idea, but Dr. King wasn't the only one that slept in this room. Thurgood Marshall slept in this room because the Brown versus Board of Education decision in 1954 led to Mrs. Bates believing that all public schools that receive public taxpayer dollars. You got to remember that black folks were contributing to that during that period of time, but they couldn't go to the schools.
Hey guys, Dr. Young Gunn here, and if you like this video so far, take 1 second to hit that like button down there and hit that subscribe button. That allows me to continue to produce awesome videos like this. Thank you so much for your support. God bless you all, and continue to enjoy the video.
Right, but they were taxed nonetheless until eventually that came about. This bedspread is about 105, 110 years old. But it's amazing how, as you can see, the colors are still maintained in this. So this is something that had to be hand washed whenever it was washed in that period. And over there is the bathroom, which contained a shower and a bath right behind you. And you can look in there, and that was where Dr. King took his bath. And the colors, the pastel colors that you see throughout the home were involved during that period of time. And, you know, the pinks and the blues and all that kind of stuff existed, and they were very prominent in terms of all the homes that were being during that period. And over here is the bathroom that Mr. and Mrs. Bates had built. Mrs. Bates was she was an unconventional woman. And most people have a rectangular bathtub in there. Homegirl got a oval bathtub.
Oh.
That was what she wanted. That was what she got.
That's it. Wow.
Absolutely. Hey, sweetie. Are you on your way? I'm doing a tour right now. Come on.
No.
No, come on. There's so much room. All right. Okay.
Here, y'all can
And this is the bedroom where Mr. and Mrs. Bates would sleep at in here. And as I mentioned to you,
that you can
another
see the
intercom
area.
system. Yeah.
Yes, the area.
This is the area. During that period of time, men and women were not supposed to sleep in the same beds together. So, you know, I guess people wore, you know, special rubber under their house shoes at night. Or, you know, if they wanted to be with one another, they couldn't let other folks hear them walking or in the room. Maybe that was how babies and they, I don't know.
Right.
Right, something there. And then the only thing we have left is the basement in here, where you all can come down if you'd like to see the basement.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
This one?
You can come this way. And just hold on to this rail.
Pass the door.
Come on down here. This is where Mrs. Bates would also entertain her guests and people who were members of the NAACP down here. These are the original floors that came to the house. And this is a counter that they have that has you know, some of the artifacts of that period of time. This is the newspaper that they had called the City Press. And as you can see right behind her is another intercom system. To your right, Donnie.
Yeah.
Right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And
Whole
and here is another meeting room that people could
Another-
come in. Yes. And
Wow.
these floors.
Oh yes. This is the command
That
center.
are still, as you can see, the wear and tear from, you know, those 50, 60, 70 years or so. They got an old roll desk in here. And intercom system on the wall. And behind you is the safe room. This is the room that Mrs. Bates, if there was something happening unusual outside, she would encourage people to come in here and hide. And this is where folks would come and they would hide out until things were over with. And as you can see, I'm 5'9", 5'10", and this can hold about maybe 25, 30 people easily. And they used to have a door cut in the wall over there where that bicycle is at. And people could exit out that door without being seen by whoever it was that was outside.
Right.
Wanted to be troublemakers. But this is it. These are all the original bricks right here of the foundation of the house. As you can see, they are old and
Yes.
still undisturbed. And that concludes the tour.
All right.
for the day. And I'm
Thank
glad y'all-
you.
I'm
Thank
glad
you.
all choosing to donate to us and
Absolutely.
come by here and get a little bit of history on Mrs. Bates and what
Yes,
she
sir.
represented.
Yes.